I just want to reach out and see if everyone is staying healthy, and hopefully you and your loved ones are all doing well during this time. I know it's extremely difficult, and there's a lot going on, but we hope from the Pittsburgh Penguins organization that everyone and their loved ones and their families are doing well during this time and staying safe. And I also wanted to thank doctors, nurses, those that are working vigorously in hospitals, and those that have been on the front lines, the essential workers, for all they've been doing for us during this time. It's extremely important, and it means a lot. You're doing a great job, and hopefully you and your loved ones are also staying safe.
Okay, we'll move to the media question and answer session. If you have a question for Brandon, you can raise your hand by expanding the participant tab and then hovering over your name. We'll start with Seth Rorabaugh from the Tribune Review.
Hi, Brandon. I appreciate you giving us some time, and I hope you and your family are doing well as well. I'm just curious. You're a guy who's so often you're identified as a fast skater, a good skater. What are you doing right now to maintain that without, I'm assuming, any sort of ice availability right now to maintain your skating ability?
Yeah, obviously it's extremely difficult not being able to on the ice. But I think our strength coaches have done a great job in passing on some information when it comes to working out and lifting. And I think I've been rollerblading a lot too. It kind of mimics the stride of being on the ice, as close as you can really get. So I've been trying to rollerblade as much as I can, especially when the weather's nice. Obviously maintaining social distance and following the rules, but continue to work out and working those small intricate muscles that you need to continue to have during when you're playing hockey and your skating stride. But I think more or less rollerblading is probably the closest thing that I've been doing a ton of, like you said, to mimic your skating stride.
Next, we'll go to Wes Crosby with NHL.com.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for doing this. Kind of going in a different direction of what Seth just asked. There's been a lot of discussion on what it might take physically to get back once the season resumes, if it resumes. But just mentally, kind of jumping back from being away from the game for over 2 months and then jumping into some high stakes games, just how difficult do you think that would be?
Yeah, I think obviously there's going to be an adjustment period, but I think the league and our organizations are working things through right now, and they're going to do a great job when we resume. And I think that's the main focus here, is to get back to the game that we all love when things are right for us to do that. Obviously, there's more important things going on right now in the world, and that's everyone's health and safety. But I think at the same time, once we're able to be back and be in the environment of the locker room with all the guys and be playing the game that we love so much, I think there's going to be an added enthusiasm and love for what we've missed over the past couple of months. And I think that is going to drive us a little more. I mean, obviously it's going to be tough and a little difficult at times, stepping back on the ice and having those expectations. But I think working through that adversity is going to make you better through all this. And I'm sure everyone is really excited and itching to get back on the ice.
Next is Matt Venzel with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for doing this. You might be the most energetic guy on the team. So what are you doing to stay sane in isolation?
I mean, for me, it's being by myself and not being around the guys and friends and family. It's tough at times, but I think at the same time, you're able to FaceTime and make calls to family members and friends and see how they're doing, checking in, make sure and everything's well back home. I think that's a priority for mine. Making sure my family and my friends are doing extremely well during this time. But I think just working out. I've been trying to do the best I can during the circumstances that we have right now. But I think I've been doing a lot of reading, building some puzzles, which I haven't done in many years. So just trying new things that I really haven't been accustomed to doing. I guess you could say that in recent years. Whether that's be going for long runs, maybe a longer rollerblade than I normally would be, or building puzzles, reading different books, and just trying to work on my craft in the kitchen as well.
Michelle Cappiolo, PittsburghPenguins.com.
And that was actually my question. I wanted to ask you what you have been cooking / baking in the kitchen during this pause.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to eat as healthy as I can. I've been cooking a ton of food, whether that's chicken, steak, salmon. I like to go online and read and challenge myself. I know that Gordon Ramsay has a master class out there, and I've trying to been doing some things that he's put out there. It might be out of my range, but I mean, you live and you learn, and if you don't experience things and try them, maybe you're not going to be able to like those things or be better than them. But I think also I've been baking muffins, banana bread, some cookies. It's nice to kind of put some music on and go into the kitchen, and whether that's cooking or baking, it takes your minds off things. And my mom, who's been cooking and baking a ton back home for our family, has sent me some recipes. So I've tried to mimic those or maybe change them in certain ways that I like a little bit better. But it's nice to kind of try the stuff that she's been doing, or whether that's Gordon Ramsay's recipes as well. I've been following pretty closely.
Jonathan Bumbolich, Tribune Review.
Yeah, there's been some talk about how this would be a really difficult summer to be a free agent. Could you sort of reflect on, do you feel lucky that you went through that process last summer? And could you talk about sort of the uncertainty of that process, and maybe do you have sympathy for the guys who are going through it this summer?
Yeah, obviously it's a difficult time. I mean, everyone's priority is their health and safety right now, and we don't know when the season's happening, but we hope that's going to be soon. But I mean, our main focus is to continue to play the game we love, and hopefully that's soon. And for those guys that have expiring contracts, hopefully they're able to get back out there and continue to play the game that they've been playing for such a long time at a high level, and have a great rest of the season or playoffs, whatever happens and the league decides. I think the guys that are in those situations, I mean, it's a little difficult, but I think, with them being surrounded by their families and loved ones, and seeing and hopefully that they're all doing well and healthy, I think maybe that gives them a little light at the end of the tunnel when this is all through, that things will resume and get back to normal, and they'll be in their regular positions and where they want to be at the end of the day.
Seth Rohrabaugh.
Hi, Brandon. You mentioned the rollerblading. First, did you have a pair of rollerblades before we all went in the pause? And are there specific drills you can do with rollerblading? Or are you just kind of going for a stroll around the neighborhood?
No, I didn't have rollerblades with me here in Pittsburgh. I had a pair back home, but I figured it was just easier to order a pair online rather than get them sent across the border from Toronto. So I got a pair shipped to me, and I've been kind of going on, I guess you want to call them, longer rollerblades. Maybe I go for like a 30-40 minute rollerblade where it's kind of just a steady pace, more scenic when it's a nice day outside, enjoy some fresh air. I think, during this time, it's great to go outside and enjoy the weather you can, but also at the same time, maintain your social distance and practice the guidelines that have been placed by our government. And I think, at the same time, there are some drills. Maybe you can do sprints up hills, work on certain things. Maybe if you have a stick and a puck in your situation where there's some free space in a parking lot, or no one's near, you're able to get out there and kind of and handle the puck. I mean, obviously it's not the same as being on ice, but in the sense it's pretty darn close to what we're used to. And I think it's just the joy of getting on a pair of skates, whether they're ice hockey skates or rollerblades or feeling the puck. It's something that we all cherish.
Wes Crosby.
Hey, Brandon. Just looking at your season up until this point, you're 5 points away from a new career high. Just how well do you think you fit in here in your first season in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I've enjoyed every moment of this year, and I think I was happy and made the right decision to come to Pittsburgh. The organization and the team and everybody involved has been such first class, and I think that's when it's easy, when you're comfortable, especially coming into a new scenario. It's such a first class organization. The guys in the locker room are great. The coaching staff, everybody in the organization does such a great job, and I think that made things so much easier for me coming as a new player. When you're able to come in, and it almost feels like you've been here for years, so you're extremely comfortable and confident in your situation. And the city of Pittsburgh has been great, and I've loved everything about it and every moment we've had this year, and I'm really excited to continue this for many years and to finish off this season as well.
Matt Ventil.
What's up with the Seinfeld clips on Instagram? Are you and Cosmo Kramer kindred spirits or something?
No, I kind of just started doing that for fun a while back when this all started, and I had some funny comments from some friends, and kind of thought I was similar in certain senses to Kramer from Seinfeld. So I've kept it going ever since. I've had some great feedback from people that are really enjoying it. So I've continued to post them every day, and I think it's such a great show, and there's some funny clips and moments in that show, and I think the feedback I've been receiving from people, saying how they really enjoy these on it's part of their daily routine. So I'm just trying to keep that going and try to keep everybody positive and happy during these times.
Jonathan Bomboli. Oh, sorry. We'll go back to Seth here.
Hey, Brandon, how would you describe or explain what it means to play with speed? I think it seems like it's a lot more detailed than you can just get from one end to the other. Like, what are the nuances to playing with speed in the NHL?
Yeah, so I think, speed's such a great asset to today's game. And I think it's extremely important, especially to my game. I think, being able to get in on the forecheck and play such a tenacious style, I think that doesn't come without my speed. And I think the game's getting quicker and quicker every year, and the players are getting faster. But I think when you have that ability, it also comes down to kind of thinking the game a little differently too, because sometimes you might be a little too quick or out of position. So it's putting yourself in a great position to use your speed and use it well, so you're not just running around and playing an aimless game. I think it's important to use that to your best abilities and to use that to help your team go out there and get 2 points every night.
Matt Venzel.
I wanted to follow up about what you said about puzzles. What is it about puzzles that has kind of drawn you to doing that? And, how many have you knocked out? What's the most challenging one you've done? I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing to pick up right now.
Yeah, I started a 500-piece puzzle and was able to finish that, and I've moved on to a 1,000-piece puzzle. I think it's great, to keep the mental aspect of yourself strong during these times. Obviously, it's a difficult time, but I think to get your mind thinking and put it in a situation, like it is on the ice when you're trying to think through a certain situation. I think you're able to do that when you're looking for a piece and maybe you're getting frustrated and you don't want to do it anymore, but your mind's telling you to give up. But at the same time, that puzzle, needs to be finished. And without that piece that you're looking for, the puzzle can't be finished. So it's a mental grind at times, especially with the higher volume puzzles that have a ton of pieces in them. So I think it's just kind of enabled me to really think through the process of finishing this puzzle and finding those pieces that aren't working and working through situations.
We'll take one more here from Seth.
Hey, Brandon, one last question about speed. Was there an age in your upcoming as a hockey player that you realized that's an asset for you and you're maybe faster than some of the other kids on the ice, and that might be something that leads you to the next level, whether it's junior or to college or to pro?
Not necessarily. I think kind of I've always had a decent sense of my speed and maybe how fast I was. But I think every summer when you're especially when you're in college or in junior, you kind of want to work on your speed and get better at things. And that's one thing I always didn't want to give up or sacrifice was my speed. Excuse me. I wanted to maintain that and make sure that was an important piece of my game. And I think whether that's working back with my trainers back home or now with the trainers in Pittsburgh, I've been fortunate enough to kind of say that I that's a big piece of mine, and I really want to work on that and continue to get better. I mean, you can never be satisfied with one thing or one piece of your game. It's always looking to improve on that. And I think with technology and how people think the game nowadays. I think it's an ability, and it's really great to have that opportunity to get better and improve, especially on your speed with how the game's been changing.
All right, and then I just have one more question for you that was pre-submitted. How long after you resume skating do you think it'll take for you to get back to the level that you were at pre-shutdown?
Yeah, I think you obviously have to work through it and build yourself up to it. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's going to be pretty similar to when we would finish our season and go back home for the off season. I think everyone takes a little bit of time off. Obviously, now it's going to be an extended period of time, but that's maintaining your strength and eating healthy and staying in a great mental state. So when you get back to the rink, you're able to go on the ice and push yourself. You start off slow and build yourself up gradually to the point where you're comfortable and ready to get back to that pace and that level of play that you were playing at before this all happened. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period, but at the same time, I think everyone's comfortable and confident in themselves that after a couple skates or however long we have, we're going to be at the level that we were playing at before.